Mr. Goodale, thanks very much for being here.
No, glad to be here.
What the heck happened?
Well, we obviously had some internal administrative difficulties last night. We put before the House a motion that effectively embodies the policy positions of governments of Canada that go back 25 to 30 years, including Liberal and Conservative administrations back through Mr. Mulroney and Mr. Clark and others.
So it should have been simple. It should have been straightforward.
Well, it should have been simpler than
Maybe
it
even
was.
the Conservatives would have voted for it.
It should have been simpler than it was.
So what the heck happened? Because you defeated yourselves.
Well,
I mean, did you not
said,
count? I mean, was it a matter of not knowing where your members were? It was, and I'll just explain to the viewers, it was a whipped vote, which means that the party says to its members, you must vote this way. There is no leeway in this. So it was a whipped vote. So
well, there were some of our members that were legitimately away. For example, my deputy House leader Marlene Jennings, who was an ardent supporter of the resolution, was taken to the hospital with a detached retina, and obviously was not in a position.
We wish her well.
Indeed, and I understand.
Now, but three of your members stood up and
recovering.
voted against you.
Well, when that happens on votes that do involve the whip process, then there are internal consequences. That's something that the party administration will take care of through the whip's office. It's a matter of internal discipline. Members
what does that mean? Just so Canadians understand what you're talking about.
Well, members know that when they go against what is the official position of the party on a vote that is a matter of principle like this one, then they will perhaps suffer some of the consequences of their perks of office that would be constrained.
What perks does Paul Szabo have that he may lose?
Well, I'm not going to speculate about what the consequences.
What perks does he have?
Well, you have abilities to ask questions, to put forward matters that involve the consensus and support of the caucus. But that's up to the whip to decide. He will make those decisions and do so in a very effective but discreet fashion, as whips always do for all parties.
Shouldn't it be up to the leader, though, because this is not the first time that on a whipped vote, Liberal MPs have ignored the whip, have ignored the leader's call to unity. He had to write a hallway pass for some Newfoundland MPs about this time last year on a particular vote, and he said, just this once. And now, is he going to have to write a hallway pass for these MPs as well? I mean, it seems to me you're in a real box here.
Well, Tom, I don't think so. I think you're making quite a tempest in a teapot here. There are administrative issues that affect all political parties. This will be dealt with. It will be dealt with effectively. But the key point here is not this internal turmoil as it might exist at the moment. The key point is the government of Canada, both Liberal and Conservative governments, have had a certain policy with respect to this issue that stretches back 25 to 30 years. The Liberal Party was trying to reaffirm that position in the House of Commons. The government voted against it. So the key question now is what is the position of the Government of Canada with respect to these issues affecting maternal health and child health, because they appear to have reversed themselves on those issues. Are they saying that one set of rules applies to the rich countries of the world and another ideological set of rules apply to the poor countries?
So why didn't you ask that question in question period today?
Oh, we'll be pursuing that question.
No, but you had a chance today. You didn't ask that question.
We'll get back to it. I mean, this is.
But why not today?
The position. We had other issues to ask today.
Well, you get to ask a lot of questions. I mean, you could have asked one about this.
We get to ask 8 or 9 during the course of the day. But I think the question that the leader asked to lead off the day was extremely important, and that is, where is the funding for First Nations University of Canada? You know, that's another human rights issue.
Fair enough. That's another issue. But I'm sticking with this one. Anytime a party gets embarrassed by itself, the way it happened to you last night, shouldn't there be consequences more than just you're going to lose your right to have paper clips on your desk? I mean, isn't this a question of leadership here? What about the question of leadership now? Michael Ignatieff, as I said, this has happened to him before. It looks as if the party feels, anyway, so many MPs feel that they can, without consequence, go against his leadership on issues of principle, the very one you're talking about now. Doesn't the leader at some point have to come down with a bit of an iron fist and say, I'm the leader, this is the policy, if you don't like it, go?
Well, the leader will make his views very clearly known. So will the whip in administering the discipline. And I think it will be abundantly clear to members of the caucus that when you're on a team, the team rules apply. And it's not a case of every man or woman for themselves. You pull together as a team. And in opposition, as I think if you ask Mr. Chrétien when he was leader of the opposition, or ask Stephen Harper when he was leader of the opposition, there are constraints on the
you don't have the discipline of
discipline
power
that you can apply when you're leader of the opposition. But I think what we're engaged in now,
we've only got 10 seconds left,
is building a future plan for Canada that will encompass important elements of foreign policy like this one, and health policy, but also a broad description of where we want to take this country in the future. And when that description is clear, not only will Liberals pull behind that vision, Canadians will pull behind that vision.
But you're also going to be a bit more careful when you introduce resolutions in the House to figure out how many votes you've got for it, right?
We will not trip over the same administrative issues.
Okay. Ralph Goodale, House Leader for the Liberals, thanks you very much.